Good afternoon, everybody. This is Stephen from WinExtra, and Paul is still out wrangling kids. Talk about an easy life. All he's got to do is sit around and wrangle kids. But in his place today, I have a very good friend of mine from way back, Art Lindsey III.
Wow.
We go back to the Elite Tech days.
Yes, I remember that show and the nightmare that it was.
Actually, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely different at the time.
It was. I think the best part of that show for me, and this sounds masochistic, was that I think everybody on that show except for you hated me, which was fun for me because I was so outside of their realm and their tiny little fishbowl that it just pissed them off.
Yeah. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed those shows a lot, actually. But that's where it was. I met Mark. There was, God forbid, there was M.G. Siegler, but there was also Jason Carashino, and there was a wide range of people we had.
Yeah. And the sad part about it, too, for me, is that my life hasn't changed since then because I was editing you then, and I'm editing you now. Yeah,
but at least now you don't have to bleep me out.
That's true. Congratulations, by the way, on getting better about that.
Yes.
Completely curbed it, and I knew you could do it if you tried. So.
Anyway, again, we're in a holiday swing here where there's like next to no tech news, let alone any real news. But
no.
I know it's sad. What do they figure? The tech world just should go on holiday for a week and a half?
I think they went on holiday before Christmas because, I helped run SiliconANGLE, and it has been nothing but, it's like a scene from a Western movie, nothing but tumbleweeds for like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There is nothing.
Yeah.
I think everybody's been drunk for a good solid 2 weeks, and nobody's writing anything of any substance.
I guess that's one way to work your way through it. But we did manage to find a few things that we can talk about today. Number one, this one just came up, as a matter of fact. Apparently, Kinect is causing the red ring of death on older Xbox 360s.
I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I can't see how, because this pisses off my buddy at Microsoft when I say this. But back in the day, when Microsoft designed the original Xbox, which I actually own one, it's been refurbished and it works fine, but it is one of the most poorly designed pieces of hardware in the history of mankind. You cannot put that much stuff in a box that small and expect it to overheat.
Yeah.
Not expect it to overheat. I have to clarify, I work with Microsoft a little bit by very, very distant proxy, so I have to be careful about what I say. But, honestly, it's a great product, but the initial design was just terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't actually have a Kinect, but I see. How does it just connect with the USB port in the front? How does it work?
I believe that's how it does connect. It's just through the USB cable.
There's nothing that I can think of that would cause where you could plug this thing in with a USB cable and fry an Xbox. I can't see that.
Apparently, what's happening, this is based on quite a few complaints that are appearing over the Xbox 360 user forums. But what they're suggesting is that this may be a case of just older models just saying we've had enough.
They quit. The one I'm using now actually used to be my roommate's. He had it refurbished. It's probably 4 years old. And he drove it to death.
Yeah.
And he got mad when it broke. I was like, dude, you play it all day.
You don't have a life and you play Xbox all day. What do you expect?
All day. He's a fireman, so he works 9 days a month. So when he's not doing that, he's playing Xbox and he plays it all day. I said, electronics die.
Yeah.
And especially these older versions, they would just die all the time.
Yeah. We'll just see how. I'm not expecting much to come out of it, but you never know the tech blogosphere sometimes.
No, I don't believe this for a second. No. I think this. What was the first thing they said? Kinect doesn't like black people.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But apparently, in keeping with the Kinect thing, Microsoft is going after Kinect domain names. Now, this I can see them doing.
Sure, and they should.
Yeah.
It just depends on how vicious they are about it, because you have to protect your your copyrights and your patents, because if you don't, you will lose them.
Yeah. Now, works. To be clear, like they have filed 7 UDRPs since Christmas, but they're only targeting domain names with Connect in them. But apparently, the ones that they've targeted are basically on our parked sites. They aren't being used.
Well, they're probably trying to prevent squatting, I would imagine, of some type, which makes sense. Squatting is dirty. I mean, I don't think I've ever done it that I know about, but I know people do that to try to make money, and it's really sad. Yeah.
Like, I know that there's one site out there that is quite active, and that's connecthacks.com, and knowing from what Microsoft has done before, if you are providing a valid service to one of their products through a site, they don't usually have that much of a problem with you using a product name.
No, that's true. But like I said before, sometimes people just like to take stuff and sit on it. I think if you actually offered a service and you went to Microsoft and say, "Hey, I want to do this," they might back off.
Yeah.
Because they certainly haven't gone to. Remember when everybody said, Microsoft's going to go after the Connect hackers, and they obviously didn't.
Nope.
So this is probably something along the same vein, I would imagine.
Now, there was another story that popped up over at Datamation with a really kind of classic headline: "Can Microsoft win back lost client share in 2011?"
Go ahead.
What client share did they lose, really?
That's what I was just going to ask you. What are they basing this on? What numbers are they basing it on? I don't understand.
They don't really give it. What they're using that as a launching pad to go into talking about Windows Phone 7, the upcoming tablets that we're supposed to be hearing about. How do you like it?
This is one of the most amazing phones, especially for a first entrant, that I've ever seen. It's odd that you see Microsoft actually put this much time into something, and actually have it be a workable device.
Really?
Well, that sounds horrible, but I guess I'm getting it from. Remember how long it took Vista to come out? What, 5 or 6 years? And it came out and then just.
Yeah, but now let's clarify a little bit of history. Now, I kind of keep coming back to this. Now, everybody says that Windows 7 Vista took so long because it was a piece of garbage. The fact was that Vista itself was a reboot off of Longhorn and only took Microsoft 2.5 years.
I love this thing. I don't even know what to say about it. For what I paid for it, which was expensive at the time, it was $200. Now you can buy one, get one free. Imagine that. That's the way it works. But, people look at it, when you look at it on television, you're like, it doesn't look like that big of a deal. But then when you walk into the store and you pick up a Samsung Focus, for example, which is what I own, it is beautiful. And you see how simple it is, yet functional. Yeah. And you want it.
Yeah.
I did. Because I wasn't going to buy it, and then I played with it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I'll take this right now. And I didn't get it until a week later because, as I said before, the store only had 2 phones.
That's insane.
2.
We're coming right up to CES, which is where Steve Ballmer usually does the evening keynote speech. And we're getting a lot of what people are hoping they're going to hear him say, primarily around an ARM-based tablet and possibly Windows 8. But what do you want to hear him say? And then what don't you want to hear him say?
Wow, I gotta be so careful. Actually, as little as possible.
Seriously.
Or something different. What last year at CES, what did he talk about yet? Again, he talked about Windows 7 for the whole thing, which was already a success.
Yeah.
There was no reason to talk about Windows 7 because, and what now? It sold 300 million copies? It'll be way more than that, by the time the figures come out for the end of this year. Hopefully he talks about something different than Windows 7 or putting Windows 7 on a tablet. Because Windows 7 doesn't belong on a tablet.
Thank you. What do you see on a tablet? What do you think they should do with a tablet?
They can. I think if you really wanted to, it would take a little work, but you could put Phone 7 on a tablet, no problem. I've heard you say that that you don't think it'll scale. I think it will, at least from an appearance standpoint, because I saw the podcast that you did with Sean yesterday, and you showed the picture of that tablet with that weird bubble interface. Oh. That was awful. And not that I'm pretty smart, so I think I would understand it, but I don't. It looks stupid.
Yeah.
But I really think that the Windows Phone 7 interface will look okay, because from the majority of it is it's very simple. Yeah. It's a bunch of large blocks of color.
Yeah.
As far as the menu goes, so it'd be really easy to scale. It's large blocks of color and web browser type stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it would work. They just got scaled out a little bit.
Yeah, well, there's also, like I said, there's a talk of the Windows for ARM-based devices, primarily the tablet. And the ARM processor is a much lower-powered processor, uses lesser energy, which is its advantage. And Microsoft has a really unique licensing agreement with ARM to use that. And I'm wondering if they use that in conjunction with something like the Windows Phone 7 interface, or let's say a variation of a combination of that plus the Zune desktop interface, or even bring in elements of the Windows Media Center interface.
Windows Media Center is also something I think needs to go away.
You think so?
Do you know anybody that uses that?
I used it for a little while.
Used it for a little while. Do you use it now?
No, that's only because I don't have a machine set up to run it, to be honest. Or else I probably would.
I mean, it's okay, and I mean, you really don't need to set up a machine to run it. You just need storage space for your stuff, and you can do it. But I mean, it's kind of for some reason, it's just Windows. I always sound like I'm saying something bad, but it's clunky to me. It was cool. It was cool at first. I used it because it's new and it's neat at the time. Yeah. But now it's been done. I mean, look at all the other options there are. There's Boxy.
Yeah.
You can get, look at Xbox 360 is a fantastic, it could easily be a runaway set-top box. It just needs a couple more little things and you're good. I really don't see the point in Media Center anymore. I don't think it's necessary. 360 needs a couple tweaks, and I think that would be fine.
The other thing that we've heard mentioned too is the fact that we might see the beginnings of Windows 8. And now I got to say right off the bat, this is the one thing I don't want Ballmer talking about. Seriously, I don't want a peep out of Microsoft and with anything to do with Windows 8 until at least midsummer, fall of next year. Period.
Well, that's I think a beta is supposed to come out by midsummer or fall of next year.
That's the word.
So, but I think more than what Ballmer does say, I would like to change the way he does things. I know he's gone from one extreme to the other. There was the jump around developers thing, and now he's showing up to Vegas in a sweater like he's asleep. Which is what he did last year, and that doesn't work either.
No.
And I like Steve Ballmer. I think he's a good guy. I'd like to meet him. Chair throwing notwithstanding. But no, I think he's okay. He just needs to crank it up just a little bit more. I think somebody told him to bring it down, and he brought it down just a little bit too far. I don't know what he's going to talk about. And you mentioned tablets. Yeah, you know me. I am still begrudgingly accepting this tablet thing.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's patently ridiculous. Because we have phones, okay, and we have netbooks. It's like, oh yay, there's another device I can carry around with me.
Yeah.
But and I own an Android tablet, a cheap one, which is terrible, which was a bad experience. But I don't know. It's sad that we're all being forced into this tablet thing because Steve Jobs did it.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why. Everybody's so taken aback by it. Oh, what's this grand new thing? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Now, Microsoft did this years ago, and they don't market well, which I think they're getting better at.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen, the Phone 7 ads are much better.
Yeah.
Than other stuff they've done before.
Yeah.
But the whole tablet thing, I'm just accepting it begrudgingly because it's going to happen whether I want it to or not.
Yeah. The last little subject for today is sort of centered around a post that Paul Flaherty wrote this morning about a recent headline that popped up from the BBC regarding Skype and Microsoft and the fact that it was a Windows bug that caused the whole crash. Now, to be fair, there's been an ongoing thing with actually the author of that BBC post. He has apologized. He said it was an error and it has been corrected. It is not a Windows bug. It is a Skype bug. But I think that that whole thing is indicative of a general attitude towards Microsoft.
It's indicative of a general attitude towards large companies because, especially, I'll try not to get too political here, especially when it comes to tech bloggers, they're very liberal and they're very against large companies. They're very into thinking, oh, it's all about the little guy and the big companies out to screw me and they should be punished. But nobody realizes that people work for these companies, people with jobs.
Yeah.
A company is not one dude out to screw you. It does not work that way.
Yeah.
And I honestly think because it stems in so many different ways. It's almost like this cord cutting debate, and everybody's so happy that oh look, I'm cutting the cord. I'm away from the cable company. Oh really? Where does your internet come from? Oh, the cable company, right? Yeah. It's almost like there's a group of people, or there's a concerted effort that seems to be happy with the idea of putting people out of work. I don't get that. So, yes, and just because, you know what, Microsoft runs 95% of the computers on the planet, oh, it broke, it must be a Microsoft problem.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the open source, you know, freebie coder, he couldn't have possibly done something wrong, you know, that's impossible.
Yeah. It's like with the red, you know, this thing about the Kinect with the red ring of death. You know, the fact is, if you're going to be silly enough to put a modern piece of technology onto an older set technology, hey, you take your risks.
Yeah, but again, I still don't think Kinect works.
Oh no, I don't either.
Yeah, no.
But that is what you could be almost guaranteed. That's going to be the attitude that comes out in the tech blog. Is that it's Microsoft's fault that this is happening?
They even blamed the Gulf oil spill. People blame that on Microsoft too. It's a Windows problem. Really? Really? Well, let's take a step back here and be honest. I know people hate to think this, but if it wasn't for Bill Gates, none of this would have happened.
No. I agree with you that wholeheartedly. I've been saying that since almost day one that I've been writing or I've been talking about technology, is that the world we have as far as computers is concerned would not exist if it wasn't for Bill Gates and Microsoft.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that we're in this cloud-centric thing now. That's the problem. I could go on for an hour about this. Nobody understands computers anymore. at least nobody that writes about them, it seems to me. Oh, look, I turned on the browser, and it's the operating system. No, it's not. No. And for me, it is just every day I deal with this sort of thing, the stuff I deal with, and that's where it comes from. It's a combination of that, and for some people, other people like to see people lose their jobs, which I don't get.
Yeah,
but that's pretty much what it is.
Well, we've run to the end of the stories for the 30th of December, coming up on the end of the year. I want to thank you, Art, for jumping in for Paul, and
thank you for having me. Even though you thought yesterday, was it today was yesterday, or you know, Paul always makes fun of Steven for getting the day wrong because he thinks it's Thursday or thinks it's Friday. Well, he scheduled me for the 29th, which was yesterday, but he scheduled me for the 29th in 2011. Because he used the wrong calendar.
I was planning ahead.
Yeah, but you're old. You may not be here next year.
Oh, thanks a lot. And on that note, that's Art Lindsey III. I'm Steven from WinExtra. This has been Daily Brief for the 30th of December, 2010. Mm-hmm. We'll see you maybe tomorrow, folks. Bye.